Everyone knows what happens when you give a kid a box of crayons. They're going to want to draw on the wall. We've been doing it for hundreds of years. On churches, temples, even pyramids. People have been wanting to leave their mark on history, to tell their story, who they are and where they came from, and what they stand for. And that hasn't changed for hundreds of years. Muralism is more than just public art. It's a living, breathing voice of the people. A form of expression that has continued to evolve, shaping the very culture around it in ways that challenge and often shake the foundation of society. It became the driving force for fashion, threading its influence through the bold styles of hip-hop and the raw edge of skate culture. It blends seamlessly with rhythms of dance, reflecting the heartbeat of the generation that's carried it. Born from punk rock and counterculture, it's always stood in defiance. Anti-establishment at its core, pushing boundaries and daring to say things that others wouldn't. Murals have been used to protest wars and promote peace, to immortalize those we've lost, to elevate voices that need to be heard. They become monuments of truth and symbols of justice. Murals tell our stories, reflect our heritage, and create sacred spaces for communities to gather. Remember and imagine together. And this is just the beginning. What you're about to witness is the next chapter in that legacy. A bold new project that continues the path and reshapes how the world will see art. But first, let's take a step back into the dusty plains of Alliance, Nebraska. In 1987, a man named Jim Randiers dared to dream something wild. A replica of England's Stonehenge, made entirely out of old American cars. He called it Carhenge. Built as a tribute to his late father, the project was part memorial, part art experiment, and part definitive love letter to the Americana. But not everybody saw it that way. Locals called it an eyesore, newspapers dubbed it a junkyard joke. There were petitions, debates, and even efforts to have it torn down. But controversy, as it often does, sparked curiosity. And over time, Carhenge didn't fade. It stuck. Tourists came, artists were inspired. What was once labeled trash became a national treasure. Soon it was popping out of magazines, comic strips, documentaries, sitcoms, music videos, and even video games. It went from roadside oddity to cultural icon. A symbol of creativity and rebellion. And what better place to introduce 8 muralists from all different walks of life to add another layer of paint to this national icon. If your art could leave one lasting ripple in the world, what would you want that to be?
I hope my work can simply make a few people pause in the moment, invoking a sense of nostalgia and allowing them to reflect on happy memories that they can carry forward with them.
When did you realize that art was a calling and not just a pastime?
I was doing an internship in India in 2011, and for a month and a half I was really struggling to find spray cans, and I couldn't find them anywhere. So after a month and a half of this struggle, when I finally found them, I remember sitting in my room looking on those cans and just crying because of joy. And in that moment I realized how much the graffiti and painting meant to me. And yeah, from that day I decided that painting is going to be my call, and since then I have no doubt of what I want to do in my life.
What would you describe your style and how has it evolved?
I would describe my current style as like a blend between abstract pattern work and nature-inspired forms. I try to create these really deep and illusionistic spaces that play with perspective and your sense of space by building up a lot of layers of these kinds of flowing and bending forms. A few years ago, somebody called my style digital tacky, and I've always liked that. Although that was a few years ago, so my style now has changed more to have more influence from nature. I do a lot of research on different patterns found in nature, so a lot of things that have the Fibonacci sequence in their growth or the golden ratio are super influential to the kind of work that I do.
What emotions and stories do you try to express with your work?
A lot of it's just for me, really. Like I put a lot of thought and stuff into what I paint, but I don't think it matters with my work if people read anything into it. If it makes them sort of smile, that's all good. I did a piece in Portsmouth a couple of years ago for a festival there, and one of my friends that lives down there, she painted next to it the year after, and a woman came up and she's got a non-verbal autistic child who the only thing that ever calms her down if she's having a massive panic attack is my wall, which that kind of stuff, it doesn't have to mean anything to me, it doesn't have to mean anything to anyone else, but stories like that where it's like, okay, it does mean something to someone, it's quite a nice thing. But yeah, as long as it brightens somebody's day, that's all that matters, really.
What has art healed or revealed for you over the years?
I think art is an amazing way to connect with communities. It is amazing, especially public facing art is an amazing way to connect with people from all walks of life. I think your job as somebody who creates public facing art is, sometimes the intervention of your artwork in the space could be the best part of somebody's day. So I think really valuing your role in the community and being able to portray something special or specific to the region, I think is really a blessing.
How has your identity changed after embracing art fully?
Probably since I start focusing on my art, I have become more confident in myself and who I am and what I'm doing.
What personal values and philosophies guide your creative life?
I am very interested in animals and animal conservation and things, and I try to kind of focus on things like that in my work. I've worked with organizations for pet adoption. I've worked with the Marine Mammal Center and things, and different places. So I think that a lot of the work that I produce definitely kind of reflects those values, just things like animal rights, animal things like that. I've done painting courses that focused on endangered species and things, so I try not to be too heavy-handed with it in my portfolio and in my practice, but it is something that I am conscious of and that you see kind of pop up organically through my practice.
In your eyes, what is the one thing the world always needs more of? Something that no matter the time or the place can heal, connect, and inspire us all.
Indudablemente creo que la empatía puede transformar cosas significativas. Creo que el ser humano tiene una capacidad increíble de poner en perspectiva las cosas y poder comprender la vida y la forma en la que las otras personas sienten. Sin embargo, es una capacidad inevitablemente olvidable. Nosotros podemos a veces olvidar lo que buscamos y podemos olvidar que la empatía está ahí. creo yo que va a resolver muchos problemas y creo yo que va a salvar a muchas personas y va a generar un cambio muy significativo en el mundo. Pero creo que la empatía es eso. Sí.